Hello. My name doesn't matter yet because I'm only 1 year old. Some people call me Little Angel, some say Troublemaker, and Mama usually just calls me Baby Boy. But inside my tiny head, I have thoughts. So many thoughts. And sometimes those thoughts sound like whispers that tell me, "You made a mistake, kiddo." Grown-ups call it regret. Now, people think babies like me don't know anything. They laugh when I babble, they clap when I walk 2 steps, and they cheer when I say baba instead of bottle. But listen carefully. Just because my vocabulary is short doesn't mean my emotions are small. I feel happy, sad, scared, and yes, regret. My world may look tiny: crib, toys, bottles, mama's arms, daddy's silly faces, but to me, it's as big as your whole universe. Every sound feels like thunder, every light looks like magic, and every taste feels like an adventure. When I lose something small, it feels like I lost everything. And when I make a mistake, oh, it burns in my baby heart like the way milk burns when it's too hot. You see, regret for me is not about missed opportunities or wrong choices in careers like grown-ups talk about. My regret is about biscuits dropped, naps missed, toys stolen, and bottles finished too soon. But trust me, those moments feel as serious to me as your broken dreams feel to you. Let me tell you how it begins. I wake up every morning with puffy eyes, messy hair, and a diaper that smells like something even I regret. Mama comes in, smiling like sunshine. She kisses my forehead and whispers, "Good morning, love." I giggle, but in my mind I already know. Today, there will be new regrets waiting for me. The first regret usually comes with food. You know, when you're 1 year old, food is not just food. It's the definition of happiness. A spoon of mashed banana can make me dance, and a single biscuit can feel like treasure. But food is also dangerous. It slips, it spills, and it disappears faster than I want. That's where regret is born. Another place regret lives is in toys. Ah, toys. They look so innocent with their bright colors and rattling sounds. But toys are sneaky. They roll under the couch when I need them most, or they get snatched away by another baby at the park. And when I give one away, pretending to be generous, my chest feels empty. That's regret too. And then there's sleep. Oh, sleep, my greatest enemy and my greatest friend. I think I don't need it. I fight it with all my strength. But when sleep finally leaves me alone and my head grows heavy, I realize I made a terrible mistake. By then, it's too late, and all I can do is cry into Mama's shoulder. That's the regret of refusing a nap. People think babies cry just for fun. No. Sometimes we cry because we regret. We regret not holding on tighter, not saying no, not keeping our eyes open, or not closing them at the right time. We regret not listening to the little voice in our tiny heads that said, "Don't do it, baby." So yes, I am only 1 year old, but I know regret. And in this story, I'm going to tell you all of mine. You might laugh because to you, they're small things. But to me, they are the biggest lessons of my tiny life. Get ready, because in the next chapter, I'll tell you about the saddest moment of all, the day I lost the biscuit. It may sound silly to you, but for me, that was heartbreak. The kind of heartbreak only a baby can understand. I remember the day like it was yesterday, even though my yesterday is only about 365 days old. Morning light tiptoed into my room, landing on my cheeks like warm butter. I woke up with my usual problems: hair sticking up like a baby pineapple, one sock missing, mystery, and a diaper that made me question my life choices. Mama rescued me from the crib with her superpower cuddle, the one that makes the world hum softly. She smelled like soap and toast. That smell always means something magical is coming. We went to the kitchen. The table was huge, like a mountain where all good things live. There was a plate. On the plate, there was glory. Big, round, golden brown glory. A biscuit, not a small biscuit, not a weak biscuit. A biscuit so perfect that I felt my heart clap inside my chest. I think angels sang, or maybe that was the pressure cooker. Anyway, I loved it. Mama said, "For you, my sweet potato," which is funny because I'm not a potato. But if being a potato gets me a biscuit, I accept. She placed the biscuit in my tiny hand. It was warm. It smelled like happiness that learned how to bake. I sat in my throne. You call it a high chair, but I know the truth. And I looked at the biscuit with the respect it deserved. Before I took a bite, I had an idea. It was a dangerous idea, a proud idea, the kind of idea that leads to regret. I wanted to show my best friend, the one with button eyes and a stitched-on smile, my teddy bear. Teddy knows everything about me. The drool secrets, the midnight sobs, the whisper fight with sleep, the championship in blanket wrestling. If I had a treasure, I had to show Teddy. So I lifted the biscuit to him like a hero showing a trophy to his kingdom. "Look, Teddy," I said with my eyes, because my words are still learning how to walk. "This is our moment." And then it happened. The biscuit slipped. Maybe the biscuit got nervous. Maybe my fingers forgot how to be sticky. Maybe gravity decided to be extra dramatic that day. All I know is that the biscuit, my beautiful, golden, warm friend, jumped out of my hand. I watched it fall in slow motion. The air made a small whoosh sound. My mouth made a small no sound. The biscuit made a small plop sound when it landed on the floor. Everything stopped. Even the pressure cooker paused, I think, out of respect for my heartbreak. I looked at Mama. Mama looked at me. We both looked at the biscuit. The biscuit looked at no one because biscuits don't have eyes, but I felt its sadness. It wanted to be eaten by me. That was its destiny. That was our agreement. But destiny slipped, and now it was on the floor wearing a coat of invisible germs. Mama shook her head slowly. "No, baby, it's dirty now." Dirty? That word cracked my soul like a dropped rattle. I reached a brave hand toward the edge of the tray, trying to touch the floor with my hope. Mama sighed, then picked up the biscuit and threw it away. I watched it go like a tiny warrior being carried off the battlefield. Goodbye, biscuit. We were meant to be together. Why did life tear us apart? Tears visited my eyes, big and round like mini moons. They wanted to fall. I let them. Sometimes a king cries when his biscuit is lost. I cried that long cry that has bumps in it, hick, 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 like a little roller coaster of sadness. Mama kissed my forehead. "It's okay, love," she said, but I knew it was not okay. Some things are not okayed by kisses. Some wounds need time. I was now a deeper person, a person who had known loss. Mama gave me another biscuit, smaller this time, like a consolation prize. I took it, sure, because I am not foolish, but I didn't show this one to Teddy. I kept it close, like a secret. I studied my hands carefully. "Are you trustworthy?" I asked them. They stayed quiet. That worried me. I took a small bite. Crunch, sweet, gentle. The world brightened a little, but I couldn't forget my first biscuit, the big one, the chosen one. I silently promised the floor we would not meet under these circumstances again. Still, the memory haunted me. After breakfast, I crawled to the crime scene. The spot on the tiles felt like a tiny museum of sadness. I patted the ground, forgiving it a little. "It's not your fault, floor. Gravity is a bully sometimes." Later that day, I sat with Daddy. Daddy is tall and funny and sometimes loud. He makes airplane noises and calls me champ, which I think is a good thing. I told him the story in my language. Ba, ba, pa, ooh. He nodded very seriously, like he understood the tragedy. Then he gave me a spoon to bang on his knee, which is his way of saying, "Life goes on, buddy." I banged. It helped. But somewhere inside me, a small voice whispered, "Hold your treasures tighter next time." I thought about the moment again and again. Why did I lift the biscuit so high? Was it pride? Was it love? Was it showing off? Maybe it was all three. I wanted Teddy to be proud of me. I wanted Mama to see I could be generous. I wanted to feel big. But I learned a lesson. Sometimes big feelings need big hands, and my hands are still tiny. At nap time, the biscuit visited my dreams. It floated above me like a buttery cloud. I reached for it, but it always drifted away, like all good dreams do the moment you wake up. When I opened my eyes, I held my fingers tight around nothing, practicing for the next time destiny offered me something delicious. In the afternoon, Mama gave me a sippy cup. I held it with both hands, both hands. She smiled like sunshine again. "Careful, boy," she said softly. I nodded with my eyebrows. I was careful. I felt wise. Biscuit loss will do that to a person. That evening, we went to the park. A bigger baby looked at my rattle and stretched out his hand. I considered giving it to him because I am a kind soul. But then I remembered the biscuit and what happens when things leave me too soon. I hugged my rattle closer and shook my head. The bigger baby frowned, then got distracted by a dog. I felt a little bad. Sharing is good, but losing without wanting to, that hurts. I decided I would share when I was ready, not because someone stared at me with grabby hands. When we got home, Mama offered me a cracker. Not a biscuit, a cracker. I accepted the cracker politely, but inside I thought, we both know this is not the same. Still, I ate it like a gentleman. You can't be mad at everything forever. That's exhausting. Before bedtime, I sat with Teddy and told him the full story again. I used dramatic pauses. I showed him how high I had lifted the biscuit, carefully, this time with an imaginary one. Teddy listened like a good friend. Silent, understanding. I think he felt regret too. If only he'd caught it with his button hands. When Mama tucked me in, I put one hand on my chest and one on my stomach, the way wise people do in movies I haven't seen yet. I whispered a promise to future me. When you get another big biscuit, hold it with both hands. Sit down. Don't show off. Share later. Chew first. Maybe that's what regret really is for a 1-year-old, a small teacher who visits when you drop your happiness. It doesn't stay forever, but while it's here, it pokes you in the tummy and says, "Remember this, little human. Next time, do it better." As I drifted to sleep, the sadness became softer, like a blanket that learned manners. I wasn't just a baby who lost a biscuit anymore. I was a baby who understood why he lost it. That felt big. But don't worry, dear listener. This is not the end of my tragic career. Tomorrow, I will fight a different battle, the one where I think I don't need a nap. Spoiler, I do. Oh, I do. For now, let us bow our heads for the biscuit that fell. May you find a crumbly heaven where floors are clean and babies' fingers are sticky forever. Amen. Or as I say, bah. People say naps are good for babies. Doctors say it. Mamas say it. Even my Teddy says it. Well, not out loud, but his button eyes always look sleepy. But me? I disagree. At least I did. For me, naps felt like a punishment. Why should I close my eyes when the world is so shiny, so noisy, so full of things to touch, chew, and bang together? I thought naps were for weak babies. I was strong, or so I believed. The day of the great nap disaster began after my biscuit tragedy. My heart was still healing, but I was determined to show the world I was powerful. Mama lifted me onto her lap after lunch and said in her sing-song voice, "Time for nap, my little lamb." I wriggled. I twisted. I shook my head so hard my hair danced like wild grass. No nap. My eyes said it. My hands said it. My whole body declared it. Mama tried rocking me. She sang a lullaby about stars and dreams. I listened politely for 10 seconds, then decided, nope, not for me. I arched my back like a cat and screamed my protest. Mama sighed. Daddy walked past the room and whispered, "Good luck, soldier," as if Mama was going to battle. Yes, I was the battlefield. At first, skipping nap felt amazing. Freedom. I crawled across the carpet, banging my toys like a drummer. I discovered a new corner behind the sofa, dusty and mysterious. I pulled a magazine from the table and tore a page, just for fun. The sunlight through the window looked golden and alive. I laughed at everything, the dog, the curtains, even my own toes. Life without naps was glorious. But then, the world started to wobble. First, my body felt heavy. My arms moved like jelly. My legs forgot how to crawl fast. I yawned, but I ignored it. Heroes don't yawn, right? I pushed forward. I grabbed another toy. I banged it. The sound was loud, too loud. It hurt my ears. The sunlight was too bright now, stabbing my eyes like little swords. The golden glow turned into fire. My mood changed. Suddenly, nothing was funny. The dog's tail annoyed me. The curtains looked suspicious. My toes? Ugh! I didn't even want to see them anymore. A strange feeling bubbled inside me. Anger, frustration, despair. It came out of my mouth in a long, wobbly cry. Mama picked me up. "See, this is why you need a nap," she said gently. I pushed her shoulder in protest, but my eyes betrayed me. They closed halfway. They burned. I rubbed them with my fists, but that only made them redder. My head felt like it weighed 100 toys. I leaned against Mama's chest unwillingly. I didn't want to give up, but my body was done with my rebellion. Still, I fought. Babies are stubborn warriors. I shook my head, forcing my eyes open. I looked at Daddy across the room. He waved at me with a cheeky grin, holding his phone like a shiny distraction. For a second, I forgot the sleep monster. I reached for him, but halfway through my stretch, my hand fell back. My eyelids dropped. Darkness won. When I woke up, I was confused. Where am I? Who am I? What day is it? I looked around and realized I had napped. Against my will. Against my plan. Worse, I had missed part of the day. My toys were still there, but the sun had moved. Life had happened without me. Regret punched me harder than a rattle falling on my head. If I had just agreed to nap earlier, I wouldn't have suffered. I wouldn't have cried, screamed, and hurt my own tiny feelings. I would have woken up fresh, ready to laugh at dogs and toes again. Instead, I wasted energy fighting the inevitable. I lost twice, first in the battle, then in the nap. That day I learned something. Naps are not enemies. They are sneaky friends. They come disguised as boring, but inside them they carry magic. After a nap, the world feels new again. The toys shine brighter. The dog wags funnier. Even biscuits taste better. But because I resisted, I discovered the regret of missing peace when it's offered. Now, every time Mama whispers, "Nap time," I remember that day. Do I still fight sometimes? Of course, I am 1 year old. Fighting is my brand, but deep inside, I know the truth. Naps are not traps. They are rescues. Still, the shame of that disaster lingers. I can still hear my tired cries echoing in my ears. My cheeks remember the heat of frustrated tears. That regret sits with me like a tiny shadow. Maybe one day I will grow up and laugh about it. But for now, it hurts. Because nothing is worse than realizing Mama was right. You think betrayal is something only adults feel? Like when friends don't call back or someone eats the last slice of pizza without asking. But no, betrayal lives even in the heart of a 1-year-old. I know because I experienced it, and the memory still makes my baby chest ache. It was a sunny afternoon, the kind of day when the air smells like grass and the world feels too big for my tiny socks. Mama took me to the park. Oh, the park, my kingdom of wonder. There were swings that flew like birds, slides that sparkled like rivers, and endless treasures hidden in the sand. My eyes grew wide, soaking up everything like a sponge that never wants to be dry. But the best part wasn't the swings or the slides, it was the other babies. You see, I spend most of my time with grown-ups who speak a language I only half understand. But here were small humans like me, chubby cheeks, drooly smiles, wild hair, my people. Among them was a boy slightly bigger than me. He wore a red shirt with a dinosaur on it, which instantly made him look powerful. Dinosaurs are serious business. He had shoes that lit up when he stomped. I wanted to stomp too, but all I had were soft socks. I admired him in silence. Then he looked at me, straight in the eyes. I froze. He froze. It was like two cowboys in an old movie, facing off at high noon. Except instead of guns, we had rattles. I was holding mine, a shiny blue rattle that jingled with every shake. It wasn't just a toy, it was my pride, my crown jewel. I shook it once, just to remind myself of its power. The boy's eyes locked onto it. He reached out his hand, slow, steady, confident. Now here's where things got complicated. I had a choice. I could hug my rattle close and shake my head, declaring, "Mine." Or I could hand it over, showing I was generous, mature, noble. For a split second, I imagined the applause. Mama would beam, Daddy would cheer, the boy would respect me forever. My heart swelled with pride. Sharing was good, right? Everyone says so, so I did it. I stretched out my tiny arm and placed my precious rattle into his waiting hand. He grabbed it, tight, firm, like it was always his. And that's when regret stabbed me. Instantly, my chest felt hollow. My fingers tingled with emptiness. The jingling sound no longer belonged to me. My eyes widened in panic. What had I done? My treasure, my joy, my comfort, it was gone. And the boy? He didn't clap, he didn't smile at me in gratitude. No, he shook the rattle like it had been his all along. He laughed, as if I was just the delivery service for his happiness. I looked at Mama with desperate eyes. She smiled proudly. "Good sharing, sweetheart," she said, clapping softly. Daddy gave me a thumbs up from a bench. They thought I was a hero. But inside, I felt like a fool. I reached out a hand, just to test if he'd give it back. He didn't. He turned his back and crawled away, jingling my rattle like a victory parade. My lip trembled. My eyes burned. Betrayal isn't just losing something. It's watching someone else enjoy what was yours. The minutes felt like hours. I sat there empty-handed, pretending I didn't care. But every shake of that rattle echoed inside me like a cruel reminder. I regretted everything. Why did I share? Why did I want applause? Why did I think I was big enough to give away something that meant so much? Finally, after what felt like forever, the boy's mama noticed. She smiled awkwardly, took the rattle, and returned it to me. "Say thank you," she told her son. He didn't. He just stomped his light-up shoes in protest. I clutched my rattle with both hands, pressing it to my chest like a rescued friend. Relief washed over me, but so did shame. I had betrayed myself by letting go too easily. The applause from the adults felt hollow now. I didn't want claps, I wanted jingles. My jingles. That night, as I lay in my crib, I replayed the scene in my head. The reach, the handover, the emptiness. My baby brain whispered a new law of life. Sharing is good, but only when you're ready. Don't give away your joy just to get approval. Since then, I've been careful. If another baby looks at my toy with hungry eyes, I hug it tighter. Not out of greed, but out of wisdom. Because sometimes regret is born not from being selfish, but from giving too much too soon. So yes, betrayal is real, even in the sandbox. and its sting jingles longer than any rattle ever could. You know how grown-ups talk about coffee like it's the secret to survival? Well, for me, milk is that secret. Milk is my sunrise, my sunset, my everything in between. It comes in a bottle, warm and comforting, with a soft rubber top that feels like home in my mouth. But one day, my precious bottle taught me the cruelest lesson of all, the regret of rushing. It was evening. The kind of evening where the sky looks like someone spilled orange paint and then smeared purple over it. Mama held me in her arms, humming softly, and handed me the bottle. Ah, my heart sang. The sight of it made my toes wiggle with joy. The warmth seeped into my fingers even before the milk touched my lips. I was ready, hungry, desperate. I latched on with the energy of a champion. The first sip was heaven, sweet, warm, smooth. I felt alive again, but then my greed betrayed me. Instead of sipping calmly, I gulped like a tiny tornado. My cheeks worked overtime, my throat swallowed without pause. Gulp, gulp, gulp. The milk disappeared too quickly. I thought I was winning. I thought speed made me strong. And then, hiccups. One violent hiccup shook my whole body. The bottle slipped slightly. Milk dribbled down my chin, soaking my pajamas. My tummy felt stretched, swollen, uncomfortable. I coughed, choked a little, and Mama quickly tilted me upright, patting my back. "Slow down, sweetheart," she whispered. But the damage was done. My belly was too full, like a balloon about to burst. The warmth that once comforted me now felt heavy, sticky, wrong. A burp escaped me, loud, embarrassing. And then came the ultimate betrayal, a spit-up. My glorious milk wasted on Mama's shoulder, white rivers flowing down her shirt. I looked at her with wide, guilty eyes. She smiled because she is Mama and she always forgives. But inside, my baby heart broke. I had ruined everything. If only I had slowed down. If only I had savored each sip, stretched out the joy instead of devouring it in seconds. Now my bottle was empty, my belly hurt, and my chance for happiness was gone. And that wasn't the only bottle regret I knew. Sometimes I'd hold it myself like a big boy, refusing Mama's help. I wanted to be independent, powerful, but my tiny hands were clumsy. The bottle slipped, rolled onto the floor, and milk spilled everywhere. I watched in horror as my treasure spread into a useless puddle. Mama would sigh, wipe it away, and say, "Next time, let me help." But I didn't want help. I wanted victory. And instead, I tasted regret. There were nights when I fell asleep mid-bottle, the nipples still resting on my lips. I dreamed of oceans of milk, but when I woke, the bottle was gone, empty, finished. My own sleep had betrayed me. I wanted to cry, but it was too late. Time had stolen what greed and clumsiness hadn't. Milk, you see, is more than food to me. It's comfort, safety, joy. When I mess it up, when I drink too fast, spill too much, or waste it, it feels like the universe is scolding me. My baby heart whispers, "You could have had more. You could have enjoyed it longer." That night after the bottle incident, Mama rocked me gently, humming a tune that wrapped around me like a soft blanket. My tummy still felt sore, but my mind felt sharper. I realized that milk was not about speed, it was about savoring. The bottle was not a race, it was a gift. So now, whenever Mama brings me a bottle, I pause. I hold it close. I sniff its sweetness. And though my instincts scream at me to gulp it all in one go, I try to slow down. Because hidden inside that rubber nipple is not just milk, it is a lesson. Sometimes the faster you chase joy, the quicker it runs away. But don't mistake me for perfect. I still forget. I still gulp too fast, spill too much, or push Mama's hand away in my pride. And every time, regret returns like an old friend saying, "Didn't I warn you?" Yes, bottle regret is real, and it tastes sourer than spoiled milk. Nobody told me crawling would be this complicated. At first, it looked like freedom. I could finally leave my blanket kingdom and explore the wild world of furniture, shoes, and mysterious corners. No more waiting for someone to carry me. I was my own vehicle. My knees were wheels, my palms were engines, and my drool was the fuel. But freedom, I soon learned, comes with consequences. It was a bright morning. Mama was folding clothes on the bed, humming her usual happy tune. Daddy was in the living room tapping on his glowing rectangle. He calls it a phone, I call it his brain stealer. I was left on the floor with my toys. My rattle, my blocks, my stuffed giraffe. They were fine, but boring. I wanted adventure, so I set my eyes on the open doorway. Beyond it lay new lands, shiny floors, strange smells, and secrets waiting to be discovered. My baby brain shouted, "Go forth, explorer! Conquer the hallway!" And so I crawled, one hand, one knee, plop, plop, plop. My diaper squeaked with each move, but I was unstoppable. The hallway stretched long and narrow like a tunnel in a fairy tale. I found a shoe and tried to taste it. Yuck! Leather is not food. I found Daddy's sock, double yuck, even worse. I kept going. Then I spotted something magical under the cabinet, a small ball of fluff, glowing in the sunlight. Treasure! I reached for it, grabbed it, and sneeze.
Dust puffed into my face. My eyes watered, my nose tickled, and my sneeze echoed like thunder. Still, I laughed. Adventure is messy, but then came the danger.as. I crawled further. I saw something shiny sticking out from the wall. A wire. Thin, black, mysterious. My little fingers tingled with curiosity. I touched it. Oh, smooth. I pulled it. Nothing happened. I pulled harder. Suddenly, crash. A lamp above me shook and fell sideways, landing with a loud bang. I froze. My heart did backflips. I looked around, panicked. Mama rushed in, eyes wide. "Baby, what are you doing?" She scooped me up, kissing my forehead while scolding the air. The lamp was fine, but her voice wasn't. She sounded scared. And me? My brave explorer's heart shriveled. I realized, maybe some treasures aren't meant to be found, but that wasn't the only crawling regret. Oh no. Another time, I crawled under the dining table. It was like a secret cave, dark and echoey. I loved the feeling of the wooden roof above me. I laughed at my brilliance. Explorer baby strikes again. But when I tried to crawl out, my diaper got stuck between two chairs. I wiggled, twisted, pushed, but nope. I was trapped. I screamed, thinking I'd live under the table forever, surviving only on crumbs. Mama had to slide the chairs apart to rescue me. She laughed, but I didn't. I felt betrayed by my own diaper, and once, don't tell anyone, I crawled straight into the bathroom. The floor was cold, slippery. I saw a shiny bowl of water. You call it a toilet, I call it disaster. I leaned in curiously, ready to dip my hand. Just then, Daddy swooped in, lifting me like a superhero. "Not there, champ," he said, shaking his head. I didn't understand what was wrong, but the look on his face told me I had barely escaped doom. That day, I regretted nothing more than being caught before I knew what that mysterious water tasted like. But maybe it was better that way. Crawling, you see, isn't just moving. It's temptation. It whispers, look under the couch. Touch the wire. Taste the shoe. And when you listen, you discover regret waiting at the finish line. That night, Mama set me back on my playmat, surrounded by safe toys. I pouted, looking toward the hallway. Adventure called me, but so did regret. My knees were tired, my palms were sore, and my diaper still smelled faintly of dust. I cuddled Teddy and whispered, "Next time, we'll crawl smarter. Not faster. Not further. Smarter." Teddy agreed with his silent, button-eyed wisdom, because in my tiny baby life, I had already learned, sometimes the places you crawl into aren't the places you want to be. Point two simple words. Two tiny syllables. But oh, how they haunt me. When I was smaller than I am now, which is saying something. Mama and Daddy loved to play this game. They'd hide their faces behind their hands, then suddenly open them and shout, "Peekaboo." Their voices full of joy, their eyes sparkling. They laughed like it was the funniest thing in the universe. But me? I didn't get it.at first. I thought they were magicians. 1 second, their faces were gone. Vanished. I looked left, right, behind me. Where did they go? Then suddenly, bam, they were back, shouting loudly. My tiny heart jumped like popcorn in a hot pan. Sometimes I laughed nervously, other times I cried. Because honestly, disappearing faces are terrifying when you don't understand the rules. I remember one afternoon in particular. Mama leaned close, kissed my nose, then hid her face behind her hands. Silence. My baby brain panicked. "Mama? Where did you go?" I slapped her knees, searching for her face. I tugged at her wrists, but she stayed hidden. My lip trembled. The world without Mama's face was too empty, too scary. Then suddenly, she opened her hands, "Peekaboo," and laughed. I burst into tears. Everyone thought it was adorable. Mama cuddled me. Daddy took a video. Grandma clapped. But inside, I felt regret. Why didn't I understand? Why couldn't I laugh like they wanted me to? I felt like the only baby on earth who couldn't crack the mystery of peek-a-boo.as weeks passed. I studied carefully. I watched Mama's fingers spread slightly, her eyes peeking through. I noticed Daddy's breathing change when he was about to reveal himself. I began to realize maybe they never truly disappeared. Maybe they were there the whole time. Maybe the joke was on me. One day, I decided to test my theory. Mama hid her face. Instead of panicking, I stared at her hands. I waited, calm, brave. When she opened them and said, "Peekaboo," I didn't flinch. I smiled a little, but inside I felt powerful. I had cracked the code. The mystery was solved. They never left me, and yet, here comes the regret, because now the game wasn't as magical. The shock was gone. The laughter faded quicker. I missed the thrill of surprise, even though it had scared me before. I regretted growing up, even just a tiny bit, because once you understand the trick, you can't go back to believing in the magic. Sometimes I wonder, was I happier when I cried at Peekaboo, believing Mama had vanished into another dimension? Or am I happier now knowing the truth, but losing the wonder? It's a big question for a small person. Bigger than my bottle, bigger than my rattle. Now when someone plays Peekaboo, I laugh politely. I clap my hands. Everyone cheers. But in my heart, I whisper, I know the truth. And a little part of me regrets ever figuring it out. They say babies learn about the world by putting things in their mouths. Well, if that's true, then my education has been both wide and disgusting. Toys, chewed. Blankets, sucked. Fingers, mine, Mama's, Daddy's, tested thoroughly. But one day, I made the worst academic decision of my short life. I tasted a shoe, and I have never regretted anything more. It happened on a lazy afternoon. Mama was folding laundry, Daddy was napping on the sofa, and I was free to roam like a tiny explorer with wobbly knees. The world was quiet, calm. Too calm. I needed mischief. Then I saw it. By the door. A shoe. Daddy's big, heavy sneaker. White, but not really white, more like gray with mysterious stains. The laces dangled like tempting noodles. It sat there silently, calling me. Come closer, little one. Discover my secrets. I crawled over, curious. The smell hit me first. Strong. Powerful. A mix of grass, dirt, and something darker. My nose twitched, but instead of running away, I leaned in. Curiosity is a dangerous thing. My chubby fingers grabbed the lace, and before I knew it, plop, the lace was in my mouth. Instant regret. It tasted like sadness. Like the bottom of the world. Bitter, dusty, sour, with a hint of mystery I never want to solve. My face scrunched up so tight I looked like a raisin. I spat, coughed, gagged. But the taste lingered, stubborn. My tongue betrayed me, it wouldn't forget, and as if the flavor wasn't punishment enough, Mama saw me. Her gasp was louder than any toy drum. No, not the shoe, she cried, rushing over. She scooped me up, pulled the lace out of my mouth, and wiped my face with a wet cloth. I twisted, trying to escape, but she held firm. Yucky, baby. Very yucky, she scolded. I couldn't argue. She was right. Still, shame burned inside me. Daddy woke up, rubbing his eyes, and when Mama told him what I'd done, he laughed. Laughed. My cheeks went hot. I had tried to explore like a brave scientist, but now I was the joke. The baby who eats shoes. The 1-year-old disaster with dirty taste buds. That night, even after Mama brushed my gums with her little baby toothbrush, I could still remember the flavor. It haunted me like a ghost. Every sip of milk tasted slightly suspicious. Every bite of cereal carried a faint reminder. My mouth had betrayed me. I regretted everything, the curiosity, the crawl, the taste. Why couldn't I just stick to safe snacks? Why did I need to know what a shoe felt like? Teddy never eats shoes, and he seems perfectly happy. But here's the truth. Regret is also a teacher. After that day, I began to look at the world differently. Not everything that looks interesting belongs in my mouth. Some things are for hands, some for eyes, some for noses, but not everything is for chewing. Shoes, wires, dog tails, all off the list. Still, the memory lingers. Sometimes, when Daddy comes home and takes off his sneakers, I catch a whiff of that familiar smell. My stomach twists. My face scrunches. I turn away, wiser now. Because some mistakes you only make once. So yes, the shoe taught me regret. A bitter, smelly, unforgettable kind of regret. The kind that makes you promise yourself, never again. Well, unless it's Mama's slipper. That one still looks a little bit tasty. You would think family means safety. Comfort. Endless cuddles and kisses. And most of the time, it does. But let me tell you a secret. Sometimes the very people you trust the most are the ones who trick you. They don't mean to be cruel, at least. That's what they say. But to a 1-year-old like me, the line between a joke and betrayal is very, very thin. It started with Daddy. Daddy loves to play games, but his favorite game is what I call the disappearing spoon trick. He takes a spoonful of something yummy, banana mash, yogurt, applesauce, and holds it right in front of my mouth. I open wide, ready for heaven. And then, he pulls it away. He laughs. Mama laughs. Even Grandma laughs. I sit there, betrayed, my mouth open, waiting, like a baby bird who got pranked. The spoon eventually comes back, sure, but the damage is done. My trust? Shaken. My heart? Cracked. My tummy? Still empty. Then there's Mama. Mama is love itself, warm and soft like a blanket. But even she is guilty. Sometimes, when she wants to clean my face with a wet wipe, she distracts me with a toy. I reach for the toy, smiling, and while I'm distracted, swipe, cold wipe across my cheek. The betrayal sends shivers down my baby's spine. She kisses me after, but still. Tricked by my own hero, and don't even get me started on Grandma. She is the queen of sneak attacks. Her weapon? The word chocolate. She waves a piece of something sweet in front of me, says, "Here, baby, chocolate," and just when my excitement explodes, she pops it in her own mouth. Her eyes sparkle with mischief. She laughs like a magician who just pulled off her greatest trick. I sit there stunned. Grandma, how could you? You're supposed to spoil me, not steal from me, but perhaps the greatest betrayal of all came from my uncle. He held out his arms, smiling, asking me to come to him. I trusted.
I reached out, leaning forward from Mama's safe arms, and then zoom! He pulled back at the last second, laughing. Everyone chuckled at my wobble, at my confused expression, but inside, my heart shattered. Do you know how scary it is to lean out of safety and find nothing waiting for you? That's regret. That's family drama. Of course, after every trick, they hug me, kiss me, tickle me, shower me with love. And I forgive them because I'm soft, because I'm one, because forgiveness comes easier when your memory is short. But deep down, I learn. I learn that not every smile is honest, not every hand is steady, not every spoon will actually feed me. Sometimes I plot revenge in my baby way. When Daddy leans in for a kiss, I drool on his shirt. When Mama tries to wipe my face, I turn my head at the last second so she ends up wiping the air. When Grandma says chocolate, I squint suspiciously and refuse to believe her.
Tiny victories, but victories nonetheless. Still, even with all the drama, I love them. My family is my world. Their laughter might sting sometimes, but it also heals. Their tricks might hurt, but their hugs fix everything. Maybe regret is just part of being loved, tiny betrayals followed by big forgiveness. But let me say this, loud and clear. If Daddy ever pulls the spoon trick again when I'm really, really hungry, I might just cry so hard the neighbors hear me. That'll teach him. I am only 1 year old. My legs wobble when I walk. My words tumble out like puzzle pieces that don't quite fit, and my world is still measured in bottles, rattles, and cuddles. But if you've been listening to my story, you'll know one thing about me. I have regrets. Not the kind grown-ups talk about, like jobs, money, or missed chances. My regrets are smaller, sillier, stickier. A biscuit that slipped through my fingers. A nap I refused until it broke me. A toy I gave away too soon. A bottle I gulped too fast. A crawl that led me into danger. A game I didn't understand. A shoe I never should have tasted. A family I love that sometimes tricks me for fun. Each regret felt huge when it happened. My chest tightened, my eyes filled with tears, my little fists clenched. To me, those were mountains, storms, heartbreaks. But now, as I lie in my crib, holding Teddy close, I see the truth. Every regret was also a teacher. The biscuit taught me to hold on tight. The nap taught me to rest before I break. The toy taught me to share wisely, not blindly. The bottle taught me to savor, not rush. Crawling taught me that not every place is safe just because I can reach it. Peekaboo taught me that sometimes magic fades when you understand it too well. The shoe taught me curiosity needs caution, and my family's tricks taught me that even love comes with laughter that might sting. You know what all these regrets have in common? They pass. The pain fades, the tears dry, and life continues with new biscuits, new naps, new toys, and new games. Regret doesn't last forever. It just leaves a tiny mark, like the faint bruise on my knee from crawling too hard. It hurts at first, but later, it makes me stronger. When I look at grown-ups, I see they carry regrets too. Their regrets are taller, louder, heavier. But deep inside, they're not so different from mine. They dropped something important. They missed something they needed. They gave away something too soon. They rushed, they got stuck, they got tricked. Maybe that's what life is, collecting regrets, learning from them, and laughing about them later. So here I am, 1 year old, already wiser than I was yesterday. My world is small, but my lessons are big. If I could give advice to anyone, grown-up or baby, it would be this. Hold tight to what matters. Don't fight the naps. Share, but not so fast. Sip slowly. Crawl carefully. Enjoy the magic before you explain it away. Don't put shoes in your mouth. And forgive the people who trick you, because their love is real even when their jokes sting. Tomorrow, I will make new mistakes. I will cry new tears. I will feel new regrets. But I will also learn. And maybe, just maybe, when I grow bigger, I'll look back at these baby regrets and laugh. For now, though, I will close my eyes, hug Teddy tight, and whisper to the stars, thank you for the lessons, even if they taste like shoes.